When we lose our loved ones, we feel broken and alone cannot replace their presence in our lives. What happens to dogs? How they react when they are in a similar situation. In today's video is how far the dogs go when they lose their friends. The first story, in But I Saw Them, their owner thought he is still depressed but took the scare of his life to the end to see what this animal hid. Had 8 weeks when the user Ingo listened to Pisces. Got it when Pedro arrived home with your car in the neighborhood, and they became very little friends after. Met a feline. Although it is believed that dogs and cats are enemies, staunch, these two broke stereotypes and became best friends. Lender did not last long. A few months later the cat died. After the death of the cat visited them, dejected, and could only have been worse if it were not for his friend the dog. This dog helped the puppy overcome his stage of mourning, but just when Crosby was coming out of his shell, suffers an even greater loss. His canine friend also left. Losing these two close friends in a short period of time, Jerry any frantic cross whines, except now being alone with his human friend. He went on with his life as if nothing had happened, which made his owner think he was fine. However, this was very far from reality. The Persian was crumbling, and it was difficult for him to overcome his friends deceased with. We miss in these loved ones. We look at their photos or try to create reflections of them in others. If we do, and that is just what was going to be. One day the puppy finally found an opportunity he craved. A stray animal on the outside, and introduced it into the house. That day, when its owner died, Ross Kane was waiting at the door, as usual. Instead led him to the bathroom, where he hid his newly found friends. Upon arriving there, the subject was surprised to see the animal and the box. To look at it more closely begs all that it was a cat that bore a strong resemblance to Crosby's late feline friend, as if he had adopted it just to preserve his memories. Although a good move, the man worried that the cat could some neighbor is still marked too, but none of them knew anything after he took a shelter. But there is no space to welcome. Now it seems that fate was acting like everyone else failed. The man had to take to your house, and is seen more than happy, just like he had done with his last feline. Crosby also protected his new partner, sleeps next to Kitten every night, and both became best friends. Although this dog from the following story did not find a friend similar, also showed how affectionate, loyal it can be. The dogs, even after the death of their loved ones. In May of 2020, the staff of the health department, Ekis Kleber Animal Control, that received a call about a dead dog on a rural road in Clay County. When they arrived at the scene, what they saw was enough to make anyone cry. Unlike what they expected, the dog, dead, was not alone. Touched, which turned out to be his brother, protected his body and refused to separate from him when the staff tried to approach to remove the animal, deceased, but did not allow them. This much convinced Candy that they were only there to help, but after a while finally gave in to the rescuers, although he only did when they earned a little bit of his confidence. Later the staff baptized the butt with the name of Guard for his legal and protective acts, kept him with them, and had put up for adoption if no one presented himself as owner. What an adorable animal. What reminds us of this other but heartbroken. The beat goes to Russia, that also did something similar. This dog guards the body of his lover, dead for 7 days, and did not let anyone even approach. Tried to warm her with his own body in the hope that she would come back to life. Unfortunately, that would never happen. The locals felt moved by the strange bond. They called them Romeo and Juliet. It doesn't matter if it's a kitten, a dog, even a child's human loyalty. A dog's affection doesn't end when your loved ones pass away. In the following story, what this bland puppy did after losing his owner to appreciate dogs even more. Soso was only a week old when he lost his mother. Luckily, Posture found him and welcomed him. Since then he was in charge of protecting and guiding him. Both developed an incredible mirror. Unfortunately, in 2014, he postulated fell ill after fighting against the disease. For a time he died. His death was a hard blow for his use, and he could not overcome his friend. One day the Boston family realized that its use often disappeared, to return hours later. Every time he did it without leaving a single trace. Where he went, he hid something. He didn't know until that day Oscar's son was his father's grave. To leave flowers was a few steps away when he noticed a creature curled up in the grave. When he was a short distance, he could finally see who the man under his arms and ties was about the subject. Finally, he understood that his use is dominating the tomb every time he disappeared from home. Although the animal received a lot, no one could replace its owner. What unconditional love! It's also good that knew where to find his deceased son, unlike the dog in the following story. In 2019, a dog melted the hearts of thousands of people. After his story will serve, according to reports, the chased on the road for 18 months waiting. His owner Jarvis died in an accident. The locals claim that he was always alert, and Persia will look simple away, as if waiting for his owner to suddenly appear. Later, the neighbors provided the dog, White Greek Boy, which was clearly a reference to a similar event that occurred in the decade of 1920. At this time in Japanese Peru, Aquitaine, called J.A. Chico, also awaits its owner at Tokyo Station for more than 9 years until his death. The compassion of the dog, White, moved several families from the J-Zone worried about the health of the Greek classic, who spent a lot of time outside even when it was hot. They tried to adopt him, but all his efforts proved futile. He but always ran back to the crash site when the locals saw that the animal did not move or something incredible, built a shelter and were often food and water despite it. Something, if you want, concerted. The villagers were not sure if but was with its owner when the accident occurred. If it was not, how he went to the place exactly. The answer remains a mystery, but one thing is certain: this animal has demonstrated the depth and loyalty of the dogs in the following story. A dog already also was left heartbroken after it happened. Something happened to his friend Manuel, already extended only 6 weeks at home when Ephraim received it from a neighbor. In a few days the two quickly formed a close bond. Jackson took a special affection to his human friend. He kept going around the house and they spent the night together, sometimes even sleeping in the chair when the bird was too tired. When the man returned late from work, I always found X already waiting at the door. The puppy never went to bed without his friend. Sadly, all that ended a day after they come down suddenly lost his life in an accident. His death left his family totally shocked and sad. But they were not the only ones affected. Dax also lost his enthusiasm, became a shadow of who it was. He walked around the house all day, with "I was tired," just sighs and falls asleep. If this didn't make you shudder, what happened next will. A day after waking up, Jack went straight to the shot. From there down he lay in front and stared all day. The sweet puppy missed his human friend. We hope he finds the strength to move forward in the next story. This but went above and beyond to demonstrate his unwavering loyalty and love, but surprised the hospital staff of Brazil after waiting 8 days out of places. Dying Nail of 82 years old. When the woman was taken to the hospital, they left the dog at home, but as he had never been left alone, if the woman did something surprising. Yes, one of the relatives to the health center. When the virus arrives but the door for 8 days. He was always attentive, waiting for the woman to go in there, did not come out. The pet showed no sign that he was running out of patience. But unfortunately the woman died after 4 days. However, he is still waiting for the show of affection of the dog. Moved many people who came to the hospital wanted to adopt it. A local pet store that a few days later was called Hopefully. Time heals the broken heart of this channel.